Hey y'all, Melissa here at Twin Oaks Family Farm in Southeast Ohio, USA. Thanks for joining me. Hey, we're going to do an armchair retreat, okay? And I don't mean like I'm going to show you pictures of faraway places and focus on a physical pilgrimage. I mean, we as a household are doing a spiritual retreat where we're not going anywhere physically, but we are going to work on from the inside out a spiritual journey that brings about personal transformation. That's what a pilgrimage is. So we're starting it with that idea of a pilgrimage, and we're putting it into terms of like a spiritual pilgrimage, and going to do a little video on it each day and invite y'all along. If it's something that intrigues you, just hear me out each day. We'll have a little bit of a reflection to ponder. We'll just mention evaluating a virtue and thinking about putting it into practice in our own lives. We'll talk about a lesson that life teaches us, and I'll give you a couple action steps from the ideas that we're working on. So here at my house, we're doing this on more of an expanded format, and we're working toward deepening our sense of faith in our Christian life. Okay, so that's what we're doing. But regardless of how much our beliefs line up or don't line up, we all have a sense of longing for peacefulness, productiveness, and some sort of prosperity. And I don't necessarily mean in terms of money, but it's imprinted on every human heart to long for a sense of peacefulness, a sense of productiveness, and a sense of intrinsic prosperity in whatever form that you recognize that in. Okay, so that's imprinted on us, and that's part of what makes any kind of pilgrimage so impactful. And I will give you an example of a little bit of a way that I feel like I experienced kind of a physical pilgrimage. So to me, in a physical pilgrimage, so this is like kind of the reflection part, okay? So you can reflect on what pilgrimage means to you, and feel free to share that in the comments if you want to. And I want to say here, we fully get it. Like, this isn't going to be a video that gets a lot of views. It's not going to be a video that gets a lot of views. Honestly, the stage of the game we're at, we don't have a whole lot of videos that get a whole lot of views. We do have several videos that have over 1,000 views, and we're growing the channel, but this isn't going to be something that gets a lot of views, but I'm still going to do it because it's still important to me, and it is an accurate and genuine reflection of something that we're doing as a household. And that's the whole premise of our channel. Like, this is our real life, So at any rate, okay, so this is the reflection part for today. Like, we're reflecting on pilgrimage. And so for us, as we're doing this spiritual armchair retreat, we are considering how living on earth is a pilgrimage toward heaven, okay? We are considering the basic foundational core premise of our Christian faith that God made us, God knows us, God loves us, and God wants us to be in heaven, happy with Him forever. So this earth, this is not forever. We all know that it's finite. We know that death is part of the experience of life on earth. We all know that. We all know that it's not perpetual happiness. We all know that it's not lollipops and rainbows and unicorns, and it's not happy 24/7, 365. We all know that. We all know that we don't all the time feel loved, and we don't all the time feel accepted. We all know that. But that's not actually what God made us for. God made us to be with Him forever, happy in heaven. He made us and He knows us. So we know from our faith that how we live serves God's purposes on earth. And we know that we have an impact on our journey through our experience here toward heaven. And we can impact it positively and purposefully and productively and with prosperity if we discipline ourselves to reject sin, to distance from temptation, to separate ourselves from worldly attachments, all these kinds of things, okay? So, but it's very hard. Human nature tends toward wanting to be immersed in where the human is. So it's very hard to be here on earth and practice detachment and resisting temptation to sin, and it's just very hard to stay focused on the pilgrimage. It's very hard to stay focused on journeying toward heaven. So, whether on earth, whether we do a physical pilgrimage where we work on deepening, in this instance, where we would work on deepening our faith or personal transformation from the outside in, we also, all of us, anytime, can, wherever we are, even if we're not able to go somewhere else or leave our routine, leave our schedule, we also can set aside time and make intention to do like a spiritual pilgrimage where we work on deepening our faith and or work on personal transformation from the inside out. So that's basically what we're doing here. So one thing I was reflecting on though was, in a physical sense, we were in Kentucky, my family. We did like a family retreat, a physical family retreat of personal transformation just for time away from the schedule, away from the routine, time to relax. So we went to Kentucky, around the Lexington area. And for me, it was very powerful. I hope it was very powerful for my family just to have a break from work, have a break from routine. But I can tell you, for me, it was very powerful. We stayed just outside of Lexington. We stayed in a home that was sited looking toward a pasture where horses grazed that were rescue horses. The owners of the vacation rental house also own an equine rescue, and that's where the house was situated. So when we got there and unpacked and all moved in, I went out to the front porch and I just took it in. And I got my camera and I did just a little bit of recording, and I just took it in. And I'm there, in my mind now thinking of it. I was looking out there and I was like, this is so beautiful, I could just cry. I mean, for real. Because I'm in my 40s, but for all of my young life and young adult life, up until the time I was about 25 to 27, I had horses. And so for me, horses were like the fourth element of life, the fourth basic need of life. There was like eat, sleep, breathe, horses. Okay, that's, that was my happy place. And so, I've disconnected from that a lot since my late 20s because we don't have horses anymore. But that was such an intrinsic part of my routine, it just made me so happy. And so in one way, I've practiced a whole lot of detachment from worldly things and worldly desires just simply by not having that in my life anymore. But then when I was back in that environment physically and immersed in just looking out the front of the house and seeing that, oh, it was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. But it was also kind of bittersweet because it was like, oh, this is the stuff of earth that I love. But I know that, ultimate happiness is not in the stuff of earth, right? So, but it was beautiful. And then there were several things that we did that it was like, wow, because one thing was, and I mentioned this in another video, we went out the road to Cynthiana, Kentucky, to St. Edward Parish. And I'm going to tell you, so one of my parents is still living and one is not, but one of them is named Cynthia and one of them is named Edward. And we went to Cynthiana, Kentucky for Mass, and we attended St. Edward Parish. What are the chances that the Catholic parish in Cynthiana, Kentucky is named St. Edward, seriously? And that I would find myself there, Anyway, so in that regard, that trip for me had a little bit of an aspect of a physical pilgrimage, but we're doing this as a household as a spiritual pilgrimage. So we're just starting it out by reflecting on pilgrimage. So we encourage you to reflect on what is a pilgrimage, and basically, you know, just sum that up definition wise, and you can ponder on this and put more into it and draw from it. But definition wise, pilgrimage is just a journey that leads to personal transformation. Pilgrimage does carry a connotation of having some kind of religious devotion, or going to a sacred place, or doing something for spiritual reasons. And so that's how we're approaching this as a family. So, okay, so the virtue to evaluate today is patience. The virtue to evaluate is patience. And the first things that always come to my mind when I hear the word patience is, in your patience possess ye your souls. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. And the other thing that comes to my mind is just that, what's the other, and then it went right out of my mind because that's commonplace for me. What's the, patience is a virtue. How often do we hear that? Patience is a virtue. Patience is a virtue. And in all regards, virtue is generally always desirable over vice. So, you know, wherever you feel the tendency or the nagging impulse to be impatient, that's exactly the time to practice patience. How can we improve at it? Well, we can pray for it, but there's another saying that always came to mind, you know, be careful what you pray for because you just might get it. And you go start praying for patience and you're going to have all kinds of tests, 7 ways to Sunday testing your patience. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, so you got to be careful with that one, but it is worthwhile to practice patience, and life gives you thousands of opportunities to practice patience because there's always something coming up that nags at us, you know. So consider that. Consider the virtue of patience. Look it up. If you're a definition person, a linguistic person, look it up. You know, get the pen and paper definition. But we all know what patience is. We know when we have it. We know when we don't. We know when others are using it. We know when they're not. So consider practicing patience over the next 24 hours in your life, and consider starting your own pilgrimage toward greater patience with the aspects of life on earth that are a drag, and leverage that experience to give you opportunities to practice patience. And that helps bring about personal transformation in all of us that really ends up helping us have more peace. Okay, so consider that. So that is one of the action steps that I'm recommending. Practice patience. Okay, so we reflected on pilgrimage, we evaluated the virtue patience, and you know, we can use it in our lives. And the action steps we can practice is just practice using patience. Practice using patience throughout a 24-hour period, and then just try to build on that, and each day practice it some more. And I'm also going to put a song link for us in the description and in the comments, and it goes to a Building 429 song. The band is called Building 429. I'll put the link in there, and you can decide if you want to go listen to it or not. But this song really gives voice and expression to the lesson that we are on a pilgrimage passing through earth toward something greater. This place that we know as home is a temporary home on our way to a more permanent home. So that's it. Life is a journey. It involves a lot of exploring. It involves a lot of growing. And hopefully it involves a lot of personal transformation into the very, very, very best version of ourselves. So thanks for joining me. We know that this video and the series that it starts is not going to be something that is going to get tons and tons of views. And I'm okay with that, because it's something that we actually are doing, as I said, an expanded format for our own household. And we just want to share it with you. And if you're willing to go along with us on this spiritual armchair retreat, we love to have you joining in. So feel free to comment also anything that comes to mind, And we always learn from each other in the comments on the community. So thank you very much, y'all. I'll probably put these up. So we're starting January 13th, 2025. I'll probably put them up like at 8 p.m. each night. So I'll try really hard to stay on the schedule with it, okay? So thanks so much, y'all. God bless you.